This episode will help you explain how you can start looking inward and becoming your own business icon as opposed to looking elsewhere for inspiration, where we are designing our own definition of freedom as opposed to aspiring to have other people's. Listen to this episode if you are struggling with comparisonitis, as I know so many are on social media, by really trying to figure out where you want your business to go, or you are still struggling in order to make those proper business decisions in order to start working on your business. If you feel like you're working in your business too much, this will be a perfect episode for you to give you a little kick in the butt. I hear people say it all the time. I love how this brand does it. Oh my gosh, if I could just look like this. I look to this brand all of the time for inspiration. This person is my idol. I aspire to be her, which we all love to have role models. It's really great to have role models, to study those business people that we really feel really connect with who we want to be as people. But instead of aspiring and looking to these people as if they are on a pedestal, we want to look at ourselves, define our own definition of freedom, and how we can become our own business icon. Because what we can do is we can find this person, we can find this person, we can find this person, and we can find bits and pieces from each of them, but nobody is living our dream life. So instead, I want you to map out your own dream life and then identify what are the things that we can start doing today, and identify the habits and the gaps and things in that person's life. If this topic sounds really fun for you, this is what we're diving into today. And we're really going to dive into why this is important and why this is something I really push you to do, especially because it's the new year. It's kind of at turning that new leaf. A lot of people are inspired to change their habits, change what they're currently doing, and this is a great time to learn. Hello. If you are new here, I am your host, Madison Page. Welcome back to another episode of the Small Business Growth Podcast. Here, I teach you how to stand out and sell out your business through building a ride or die community around your brand. We really love to help those people that are creatives, they're designers, they're artists, they're makers, whatever. You are inventors of your own product. Turn your business into an online consistent sales and bringing in that successful business, that thriving business online. If you are new here, I am Madison Page. I'm so happy that you're here. Here we like to teach in a fun conversational type of way, where it's kind of like sipping coffee with a biz bestie, where it's you and I sitting and chatting and having raw and real and genuine conversations and sharing tactical business growth advice. So if that's something you're all about, we put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, and 75% of you who are active listeners to this podcast do not subscribe. So if you are part of that 75, that is wild. You're coming back here anyway. Save yourself the time and just subscribe and either get notified or it'll go into your new episodes so you can find the episodes as quickly as possible. It also helps to get this podcast pushed out to more people and it to be more helpful to more people. So if that's something you want to do, get this information to more people as well as for you to be notified when the juicy new topics come out. Make sure that you're subscribed. We have also moved over to YouTube, which so many of you guys are loving. We have like 50 consistent watchers as soon as the podcasts come out on YouTube, and I'm loving that. So you can click the link in the show notes and find us there as well. So we're diving in to becoming a business icon. I want you to really think of what is your definition of freedom? What is your ideal life as a business owner? What does that day look like? I want you to think of what a well-rounded picture of that defines your level of success that you want. That is where your own business icon comes from, is what is your definition of freedom? What do you want your life to look like using your own unique ideas as opposed to just like looking at somebody else's product photos or their branding and just trying to imitate what they have all of the time. I want you, instead of looking at all of these other people and wishing you could be like this, or wishing your photos could look like this, or wishing your content could be performing, I want you instead to design who you want to be and start taking strategic action in order to become that person. Because honestly, when we start thinking of like our own quote unquote icon, being the best version of ourselves, it can seem like a really aspirational thing. It can seem like it's really far away. It can feel far-fetched. However, when you really break it down, you can say, why am I not doing that now? And that's the question I want you to get comfortable asking, is when you look at these aspirations, you look at all of these people, why are you not doing that now? And you're going to start saying all of these things of, well, like, I just don't have the time, or I don't have the resources, or my house isn't pretty to take pictures. But instead of having those excuses of, well, because of these things, I want you to say, you're right, Maddie. Why am I not doing that now? Do I think that brand is not taking brand photos because their house isn't pretty? Or do I think that they're creating that scene? Do we think that, and of course some of these brands have full marketing teams, and we can't always judge off of those things. They have full marketing teams and people that's their entire job just to take photos and content for their brand. However, you need to look at that as an indicator of that people like it. If those big brands are doing it, obviously it's working. If the brand that you aspire to be, obviously it is working. And why are you not doing the things that you know that big brands are doing as well? Now, there's not everything you have to do that's the exact same. And again, you need to look inward and say, how do I want my business to be run? What do I aspire my business to look like? How do I want my brand to look? How do I want my day to feel? How do I want to show up as a business owner? How do we hire people? What is our team like? Instead of looking at all of these other people, I want you to look at yourself. What do you want to do? And I love these episodes where they're kind of like a guided exercise, and this would be a great one for you to do that. So thinking of, how do you want your brand to look? How do you want people to feel? What do you want those photos to look like? Your mood board on Pinterest, start making that become reality. When was the last time you mapped a full day out just to do a photo shoot? Or when was the last time you hired a product photographer to take really solid photos of your brand so you know that they will turn out? How do you want to look at your business? Do you want to look at your business as if this is this big time business and it can be in stores? Or are you still looking at your business as it's this little side hustle that brings in a couple of bucks here and there? How do you want to look at your business? How do you define freedom when you are a business owner? Is that in time freedom, in schedule freedom, in financial freedom, in location freedom, in task freedom? There's a lot of different styles of freedom, and everybody's is different. I live out of a bus for 6 months out of the year, minimum. Right now I'm in a house that we are house sitting over the winter. It's not really a house, it's a beautiful cabin. But my definition of freedom is being able to fly home next week and know that I'll be able to work from home and get some work done. My definition of freedom is being able to absolutely spoil the people that I love with Christmas gifts, because I have built financial freedom that there is guilt-free. That is now guilt-free, that I can buy it. If I'm like, ooh, this is perfect, I'm not like, ooh, I don't know. I love spoiling those around me. Definition of freedom for me is being able to work out of my bus and bounce anywhere and feel confident that I can run my business and still be an incredible coach to those people. That might not be your definition of freedom. You might be like, Maddie, I am a home body. I like to have my home. I like to be in my location. I like to have a shower consistently. That's totally fine. My definition of freedom is different than yours. That's why you need to create and design this own business icon of yourself. Instead of looking and wishing and aspiring, we start designing who we want to be and taking strategic action for that to become who we really are. Now, this might be a hot take and it might come to a shock to a lot of you, but I don't follow a single person in my industry that teaches what I teach. I might follow people that teach people like me that are speaking, that I am their ideal customer. And if I do follow them and you're going to be like, Maddie, I know you follow this girl, I probably have them muted. Why? Because I don't want to see what their products are. I don't want to see how their launches are doing. I don't want to see their branding, their content, their new program. I want to be in my own head of how I want my business to be run. If you're feeling that comparisonitis of, oh my gosh, they have this collection and they're launching all the time and they're selling out their launches and their brand looks like this, so my brand needs to look like this. No. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be strategically, honestly different than everybody else. Because if you're creating a product that is kind of mainstream, or it's trendy, or it's kind of a day-to-day product that people can use, if you're boutiques, if you're candles, if you're earrings, if you're clothing, if you are overall things that like people use on their day-to-day, or that they can go to Target and buy, you need to separate yourself from what everybody else is doing. It's good to know what other people are doing so you can do things differently. In my industry, everybody has a black and white and red brand. They're all in oversized blazers, and they are all in this like luxury lifestyle with champagne, and they're all in like the same modern rooms that have like the bubbly couches. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe, I don't know, but they're like these luxury bubbly couches. That's not who I am. If I was just looking at all of these successful people and doing what they were doing because they were doing it, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be my brand. My business is an extension of who I am, just as yours should be. You shouldn't be looking to all of these other people and just trying to become them. Why? Because then you become wallpaper. You don't want to be wallpaper. You want to be the abstract art that's on the wall that is the statement piece of the room that everybody pays attention to. Nobody pays attention to the wallpaper because there's so much of it that you don't even see it anymore. You're numb to it. Think of your grandparents' house that still has wallpaper. Tell me right now what's on the walls. You're like, I don't know, but I know they have some weird designs, because you're numb to it. But if they had this huge, beautiful, abstract piece of art that was unique and you've never seen it before, you know it. Or if they have the weird doll in the corner that you're like, what the heck is that? You know it because it's unique and it's different and it stands out. That's how you want to be as well. When you're taking inspiration from everybody else, you're actually just aspiring to be like them. And you're just starting to become a mini version of their brand, which at that point, you are 10 steps behind where they are. Instead, I want you to be focusing on growing your business. It takes a level of tunnel vision of not getting wrapped up in the industry. It's not getting wrapped up in what everybody else is doing. It's what I want to do, and what business do I want to build? What type of business owner do I want to be? In 2023, one of my major focuses was getting into rooms with people that run businesses like mine and start networking and building people in my industry. And I realized when I started networking that the people that were stuck and behind and don't really know how to get out of the rut that they were in knew all of the gossip. They knew all of who was blocking who was suing who, and all of the up and up on the latest like gossip in the industry, the latest like scandals. And so many of them were like, well, you know this person. And I had no idea who they were. And I like truly rarely even knew who they were talking about. Why? Because I'm not concerned about what everybody else is doing. I'm concerned about me. And it's something that I hear actually really often. And I didn't realize it until I was in a room full of people that were in my industry talking about all of these other people. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I know nothing about what you're talking about, because I am tunnel visioned into my own world and I want to build what I want to build. I'm not looking at you for aspiration. Even people that coach people like me, I have muted, especially if they're like a friend of mine. I'll have them muted still, just because I don't want to see what they're saying. I don't want to see their problem aware content where they're like saying everything I'm doing is terrible. And so I have people muted because I don't want to see what's going on. I don't frankly care who is working with who and who's suing who and all of the gossip and all of this stuff out there. Because instead of being concerned about what other people are doing, I'm concerned on my business, the business I want to build, and the lifestyle I want to build. I am focused on becoming my own business icon. I sure have people that I really look up to, that I think are wonderful, that I think are truly powerhouses. Emma Greed is one of my favorite people to really study, but I study them. I don't aspire to be them. I look and I say, what are her habits like? What does she do with all of her brands that really make it where it comes out to look like this? I think like people like that are so intriguing to me. But again, I don't even know if I follow her because I don't want to see what she's doing. She's at a way different level than my business is. However, I don't want to look at what she's doing. I just want to say, how did she get here? How did she get where I want to be? And then I can say, okay, what do I need to change? But it's always a reflection on me, as opposed to why am I not doing what she's doing right now? It's not why is she doing those things and I can't be at that point yet. You have to look deep into the questions and design the life that you want to live, your habits, the lifestyle, the schedule that you want to have, the business that you want to have, the sales you want to have, the offers that you like, the products that you want to put out there. Do you want to be releasing a new collection every 2 weeks? Do you want to be doing custom orders? You don't have to be if the answer to that is no. Do you want to be doing markets? Absolutely not. A lot of you are like, I've tried it and I hate it. A lot of you guys love it. The beautiful thing about being human is we are all different. We all enjoy different things. We all hate different things. And what makes that so wonderful is you get to design your business the way you want to design it, but it has to have that overall strategy underneath it. And then you need to ask, when you have this design, what do you need to do? What do you need to change? Make a list of it. And when you do that, you can then say, okay, what are these things that I can do now? What are these things that I can adjust what I'm doing now and start actually living that business icon life? Do you not want to do customs? Do you not want to you want to have sold out launches? What do you need to do in order to get there? You need to learn that strategy in order to start getting to those points. A lot of times we're just working in our business. We're not working on our business. And this is something to work on your business, because working on you is working on your business. We want to design, not aspire to be like other people. A major part that I also noticed when I was networking was that they all outsourced more than I did. They all outsourced things outside of their craft. If they were good at sales, they outsourced the branding and they outsourced all of these things that they weren't good at more than I did. I've been basically a team of me, myself, and I for the majority of my business. I've had like supplemental support, but nothing that has ever stuck. And they outsourced all the time. They were like, I couldn't figure it out. I'm going to outsource it. I had a bump in the road. I called somebody in and I did a 90-minute intensive with them so we could really dive in and break down the problem. When they didn't have the answer, they'd hire someone who did. When they didn't know how to do it, or they wanted to be able to do it in the next 2 weeks as opposed to learning it on their own and trying to figure out the frameworks that works, they called somebody up and they paid them to figure out how to do it for them, to get their ideas, to bounce ideas off of them. I truly, when I did this, I did one major networking event. I flew to New York City and I met with a bunch of people, and it was something that really stuck out to me, as they all were like, you don't have a team? Like, you don't have people helping you with these things? Like, why are you doing that? And so I immediately put this into place. This was something that I said, okay, I that is the lifestyle I want to live, is to be able to really work and grow my business. I hired a PR specialist for visibility. I hired a business mentor to help me plan my 2024. I spent over $1,000 just to have somebody sit down and plan 2024 with me, because I had some bumps in my thought process on it, and I wanted somebody's external opinion looking at my overall everything I was doing. What did they feel like was the best? And I did that because I wanted it to be, I saw that other people did that. I hired somebody to help market my podcast. I've never, ever marketed my podcast. I like to be incredibly transparent about who I hire, because I think it's really helpful when you see, okay, like I've done 99.999% of the work in my business so far. And that was what I wanted to do. I did it strategically because I wanted to know how to do everything in my business so I can then hire the proper people to do it. But I also wanted it because I felt like it gave me more freedom at the time. It helped me be able to not have other people that had to attend to what I had to do. I didn't have to attend to them either. It just allowed me to work in my business. But I also realized that I've plateaued at I don't know if I can expand too much more, because I need people in different crafts. And there's nothing wrong with that. I need people that are doing things that I don't have to be doing. I'm doing the thing already. It's not that that's not there. It's not that I can't do it. It's that I can be doing other things to work on my business. So my business idol doesn't dwell. She doesn't think like, oh, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. She finds solutions. So, and that was something that was very evident to me of people that were in my world, that I was like, oh, okay, like that's something I need to be doing. And when I sat back and I was like, I think it's time. I think it's time for me to start hiring. I think it's time for me to start bringing in these specialists to uncover and to help me with some of these different things. Because dwelling is time, it's money, it's effort that I don't have to not put back into my business. It could be spent elsewhere. It could be spent working on my business. It could be spent posting more content, creating more content, like developing more strategies in the behind the scenes. I want you to think of what your personal business icon looks like. We always talk about like your own highest self or your own whatever, but we never think of like as our ideal business owner, and in your mind, maybe it's 5, 10, 20 years down the road. But I want you to think about it, that person, and what actions would she be taking that most like successful, you're peaking, you're finally at the point that you want to, your brand is like popping off. Who would she be hiring? What actions would she be taking? How would she fill strategic gaps in the market? How would she fill strategic, like how would she be looking at your brand and what would she be doing? Soon you will see some of these changes really don't seem like they are that far away. I want you to think now, what are some, like, can I do any of these things now? And why am I waiting until I am that most successful version of myself? If she would be doing photo shoots for her launches, if she would be doing like whatever monthly lives in the Facebook group, if she would be posting TikToks every day, like why are we not doing these things now? And of course there's always like, well, I don't have enough time. I'm too capped where I'm at. Like I'm doing all these things. Sure. But if that is who you want to be, you have to start taking actions now to become her, because that will happen much sooner. If you're wanting to scale your sales, it's no longer posting content, making product, building community. It's making small tweaks to make a huge difference. You've heard me say when you're starting to get to consistent sales, you need to look at your overall kind of big time umbrella strategies and then make small tweaks when you know those big time strategies are there. But when you're scaling, it's looking at what you're doing and analyzing it and making these small tweaks to make a huge difference. You don't need new strategy. You need to optimize, improve, and work to be that business icon and to be understanding what you need to know. Now, of course, you can think of yourself in however way you want to think of yourself. You can make excuses however way you want to make excuses, but the more strategic action you take in filling the gaps that you have, in finding where you can improve, in understanding what those next steps are from where you are at, the sooner you can do that is the sooner that you become that version of yourself. The quicker you map her out and you make the changes to become her that you can change and you can do right now, the quicker that growth will be there. If you become that own business icon and you're waking up and you're doing this strategy, something that I have really gotten away from is a structured morning routine. I used to be so incredibly structured with my morning routine, and honestly, I kind of loved it. But as I grew and as I really like a slow morning, but I do like a structured morning. Like, this is kind of wild, but my boyfriend has been starting work at 5 a.m. And so I have been getting up at 4 a.m. with him borderline every day of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at least. And so I've been getting up at 4 a.m. and I love it because I've been getting up, let's say at 5. I'm like up and like slowly waking up. Let's say we're getting up at 5 and I will drink my coffee. I'll read some research papers. I respond to a lot of messages super early. I've been making a lot of content in the morning to batch it for my day. But I found that if I didn't have by 8 a.m. or by 7 a.m., I'm going to be working out downstairs, that I would just waste the whole morning. And then it would be 9 a.m. and I'd be like, Maddie, what have you done for the last 4 hours? And so the more structured, I know that my business icon wakes up and has a little bit of a structure to her day because she can stay on track and she knows when she can actually sit and start work by 9 a.m. because she's already worked out. She's already done these major messages. She's responded to her email. She's done these things. She's done a little bit of creative work in the morning already, and she has this structure there. It's something I have implemented for this next year that I am going to do. As I'm waking up early, I might as well. I don't need to wake up at the time that I am, but if my boyfriend's waking up and I'm going to get awoken anyway, I might as well. And so it's something that I'm excited to explore. And so when you become this own business icon, you find the strategic gaps you want to fix. You find the areas that you're like, okay, am I doing what my most successful self could be doing? And this is something I challenge you to do for yourself this year, because when you start making these changes, you start hiring the right people, you start you start investing in the mentors that make the most sense for you, when you have those role models that can guide you as opposed to you aspiring to just like be like them and copy them and making content just like them, you want to stand out. Again, you want to be that abstract wallpaper. You need abstract art style of habits and style of strategy. You need to be able to think of that where creativity meets strategy. If this is something you're interested in, we have a lot going on in the beginning of the year that we are doing some live programs where you can work directly with me. Come over to my Instagram and DM me growth, and we will talk about some different options for you of what's available. My signature program, Product to Profit, starts on January 16th. This helps you get 2 consistent sales. I know that we are super short on spots as the time that I am already recording this. And so at the point that you might be listening to this, I don't know how it might be, but feel free to come on over and send me a DM on Instagram that says growth, and we will figure out which program makes the most sense for you. If investing in yourself and learning the next stage of how to reach that next stage is a part of becoming your own business icon. This is something that I really love to do, is I sit back and I say, okay, what would I do as my most successful self? This isn't me. What would I do if I was this person? It's what would I do if I was me in my highest regard? What would she be doing in this instance? And I do those things. That has really helped me propel my growth. And I hope it helps you propel your growth as well. Become your own business icon. Design instead of aspire to be like other people. Design your own life and figure out how we can go and reach for those other people. And we can find bits and pieces in success that other people are finding. Mute those accounts that bother you and that you're constantly comparing yourself to. And I want you to really figure out what this business icon feels like. She's not that far away. You just have to take strategic action. Between you and your business icon is strategic action and understanding what those actions are. If you have no idea where to start for that, I would be happy to help you fill those gaps. Let me know. You can come on over to Instagram at thisismadisonpage and come follow me there. Remember, 75% of you, 3 out of 4 people aren't subscribed to this podcast. If you love this podcast, you're coming here twice a week anyway. You might as well save yourself the time and subscribe to the podcast episode. And you'll be notified every Tuesday and Friday when the juicy new topics come out. We have a bunch coming on out in the beginning of the year. We have over on YouTube as well now, so you can go and check them out there as well. I'm so happy that you're here. I can't wait to see you become the biggest and best version of yourself in 2024. I love you. I'm rooting for you, and I'm in your corner always.